What is up, guys? Bearmaul here, and this is episode, what is it, 11? No, this is episode 12 of Bearmaul Plays Minecraft. Today's going to be a big day, so without any further ado, let's get started. I love this shortcut. I've been using it so much. So, I finished digging out this giant room. I said I would do that off camera in between last episode and this episode, and I have. So today is going to be the day that if we don't finish, we will definitely get a huge head start on our giant furnace. So I've got a little supply chest type thing set up here. This is just stuff I think will be helpful during the construction. There's some stuff I don't think we'll need, sticky pistons and redstone lamps. They're not part of my design, but maybe we can integrate them somewhere. So basically the idea behind this furnace is we're going to have 64 furnaces to start with, and they're going to be in a square around this room. So they're going to go on top of these dirt blocks that I'm placing. Like that. And honestly, this furnace could be made a lot more compact than what I'm doing here. I'm basically doing it this way just because I really like the way that it looks when it's a huge room and the walls are kind of lined with furnaces that are all burning. So I'm making a purely aesthetic decision. It's not actually going to decrease our efficiency at all with the actual smelting, but it will decrease the efficiency of building it, and it's going to take a lot more materials this way. But I'm fine with that. We have a bunch of materials, and honestly, I'm happy to find a cool use for them. Alright, so that's all the furnaces in place. These dirt blocks are actually just temporary, so I had something to put the furnaces on. Those won't be staying. So basically, this furnace runs on minecarts. We're going to have 3 different minecart rails, one to deliver the raw ore, one to deliver fuel, and one to pick up the finished ore and bring it to a chest where we can grab it all. So, in order to differentiate the minecart rails, I have 3 different colors of wool here, and this isn't going to be enough wool, but it's a start. So a lot of people, when they build redstone circuits, they'll use different colors of wool to differentiate the different power lines, so they don't cross them over or something. And so I'm going to do that, except instead of redstone power, it's going to be minecart rails, just so I don't get them mixed up. So the green one is going to be the finished product, and then we'll do the blue one for the raw product and the red one for fuel. That seems to make sense. Alright, so I got all the hoppers in place. The minecart rails are going to run on top of these hoppers. The ones in the back will deliver the fuel, and I think I said that fuel would be the red line. If not, it is the red line now. So I'm just connecting these just so I can keep it straight in my head. That's where the fuel will go. Okay, and then the raw ore, or whatever we're smelting, is going to run on the blue lines up here. Alright, so now I'm going to get started on laying down the rails. I'm just going to use plain rails over the hoppers because I don't want to have any issues with the power from the powered rails powering a hopper, because when you provide power to a hopper, it shuts it off, basically, makes it so it won't take in any items. But with the number of powered rails we're going to end up getting on here, we shouldn't have any issues with the minecarts going too slow and depositing more than one item in each hopper. Alright, so I've got all the rails placed on all the lines now, so all the rails are where they should be. So now the next trick is going to be getting all these sections of powered rail powered without interfering with any of the hoppers, because if any of these hoppers get a power, then they will not pick up items, which is bad. So I think on these 2 middle sections at least, I can put down a redstone torch there. It won't mess with any hoppers, and then that powers below the torch, above the torch, and it gets the one in the back, so that's good. And I might even be able to get away with that over here. Does that work okay? It does. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to power all these up, and then we'll move on to the next step. So this next part, I think, is where things are going to kind of start to get a little tricky. So this is where the drop-off point is going to be. So everything that gets smelted, these green rails will come and they'll drop off into these chests. And I think, actually, I'm going to double these chests up so that we'll have 2 sets of double chests on each side. Instead of having just one singular drop-off, I'm going to actually split the drop-off in half, just to keep things symmetrical, and that way it's easier. I don't have to worry about connecting this green rail to the other green rail, if that makes any sense. It's easier this way, trust me. So, the drop-off for this green rail is actually going to have to be up here. So we need to take this green rail and get it up to this hopper in order for the drop-off to fill both chests. I didn't put these hoppers on symmetrically either, did I? Okay, so it's going to go like that. We'll have a block here and a block here, just so that when the minecart comes up, it won't just keep going. Alright, so I've got these minecarts coming up to the hopper pretty neatly. So now what we need to do is we need to build a simple little minecart unloader. So the hopper minecart will come down these tracks, it'll come up here and sit here. So what we need to do is build a contraption. Step 1, check if there's anything in the hopper. If there is, this comparator will send a signal into this block. And on this block will be a torch. So if there's anything in this hopper, that was too quick to even see because it went right to the chest. But if there's anything in the hopper, this comparator powers this block, which turns off that torch. That torch is going to power that block, which is going to run a repeater. Repeaters are in the chests. I planned ahead for this. Repeater. Okay. Alright, so that torch powers this block, which this repeater will pull out, and then into one more block there. So by default, this rail is powered, so if something comes up here with something in it, this hopper will pull it out, which will power that, unpower that, and this will unpower, which will kind of put the brakes on the minecart, and it'll sit here until everything's empty, at which point it'll launch it back down the track again. So we're going to duplicate this on the other side. And I'll do it a little quicker this time. So we have comparator. Comparator goes into this block, which has a torch. Onto that block. Repeater and block. Like that. Boom. Simple minecart unloading station. Tell your friends. So in the future, if we decide that we want to make this a 2-story machine, which I expect we will at some point, over here at the hallway end of the green line is where I would eventually run it up to the next story. But for right now, we're just going to do it 1 story, and so we just need to bounce the minecart back from this point. So the way that we can do that is just to power this powered rail, and that will just power it into the block, and it'll bounce back and go the other way. So let's actually give it a test. Let's do that. I got 1 hopper minecart here, like that, and we'll actually put 7 red wool in it just to test the unloader over there. Let's go. So as it drives, it would be picking stuff up from the furnaces there. You see it stops up there because it's unloading the red wool, and now that it's unloaded, it comes all the way back. Let's power this to make sure it bounces back okay. Whoop, nope, I couldn't reach the lever. So you see now that there's nothing in there, it doesn't stop, it just bounces right back. So these will actually be running all the time. And it bounces back. That all seems to be working okay, so that's good. Alright, the output is pretty much finished and fully functional. I had to move the blue rail up a block in this section just so things wouldn't get stuck on the green rail, but everything should be good now. So now I need to get the inputs working. There's going to be two chests, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the right is going to be the fuel line. That's where we'll put input fuel, and the one on the left is going to be the ore input. Since the ore track is quite a bit higher up, I feel like that's going to be the trickier one to get set up. So I want to do that one first. I'm going to make it a little bit easier on myself and put the chest kind of up high. And that gives me a lot more wiggle room. So the redstone isn't going to be too far off from the minecart loader, except of course this time we're doing the minecart unloader rather. Won't be too far off from the minecart unloader, except this time of course we're not unloading the minecart, we are loading it in the first place. I'm going to have to do some of the circuitry in the walls, which isn't pretty, but we're running with very limited space. So this is going to be where our rail is, powered rail. That's going to send the minecart off that way. So here we need a block. My inventory is a mess, so I'm sorry about how long this is going to take. So the comparator, if there's anything in the hopper, the comparator will power this block, which sends a signal to that torch, which powers that dust, which powers that repeater, which powers that block, which powers that rail. So believe it or not, that was the easy part. The hard part is going to be connecting this rail over to the actual rail that runs down the hoppers without interfering with the fuel line rail on this side. I've got it all set up to bounce the minecart back with this block, which powers the rail without powering this hopper. Very important. So I just need to figure out how to connect it without interfering. These are the kind of problems that I'm not really good at thinking out solutions to. I usually just tend to try stuff until something works. So I have the track come, and it's supposed to loop around and go down here, but every time I put a track here, this powered rail wants to connect to it. No matter what I do, it always wants to connect to the powered rail before it wants to connect to this. See, it always hops up there, and that's a problem because I don't want the fuel minecart to come up here and get on the ore's track. So we got to figure out something to prevent that from happening, and this has to be a powered rail here because I need it to bounce. Alright, I figured out my solution. It was super obvious and in front of my face the whole time. So instead of messing with having the powered rail here to bounce it, I just ran some powered rails over the hoppers and then powered it with this torch. And this torch will not power this hopper here. Whoops. See, it's dumping the fuel into there. I don't want that though. So that should work. I'm going to have to do that on the other side for the ore thing, but this should all be fully operational now. I am going to... Actually, hold on. I'm thinking here. I don't actually need to come down that low, I don't think. I think I can rewire this to have the rail start here instead of here. Let me mess around a little bit off camera. Alright, I was wrong. Turns out I couldn't make this any more compact. The problem was when I compacted it more, the minecart was sitting right up against this hopper. Since that's a solid block, when the powered rail turned on, it wasn't pushing it out. It was just kind of letting it hang out inside there because it's not solid. So I think I've got it as compact as it could probably get, or at least as compact as I need it to get. So I kind of want to give it a test. We'll put 7 dirts in there, so you can see that turns off. Right? There's something in the hopper, so it turns off. Now let's push a chest minecart down there. Off you go. So it goes down there, it gets loaded up. So as soon as the hopper's empty, it sends it back on its way. And I was in the way, so it didn't go around, which is fine because I don't really want to dump a bunch of dirt into my hoppers. So that's working. So now for the ore input rail, I need it to bounce on this side. And fortunately we figured out a real easy way to make that happen. Just copy this power that we did for the fuel rail bounce. Alright, doing a test of the blue rail. Everything seems to be working good so far. It should come down here and bounce. Yep. Beautiful. And so this is basically just going to run continuously unless there's something in the input chest, at which point it'll stop, load up, and then keep on trucking or carting. This is the real fun part. Going through and checking every single hopper to make sure there's nothing weird in there before I give it an actual test run. So this side is all clear. Just because of the nature of like putting rails and stuff, building on top of hoppers, when you break a rail that's on top of it, it goes into the hopper's inventory before it goes into yours. It's like a higher priority. I need to check this one in the corner. I can break this block. That's not doing anything important, I don't think. Yeah, see, I would have missed those. Alright guys, I think we are ready for our first official test run of the thingy. I installed this little circuit here to get both of these, both of the green rails going at the exact same time. Boop. There they go. And then before they come back, I want to flip both these levers so that they'll bounce. So those should be operating good now. They didn't quite go all the way up to the top though, did they? I'm hoping that's just a visual glitch and they're not getting stuck. Okay, yeah, they're going all the way up. Alright, so we are going to use blaze rods as fuel. I'm going to use 2 stacks of blaze rods. Since each blaze rod will smelt 12 items, that means we can do 24 stacks of cobblestone. 24. So that's going to take a while to get loaded into the minecart. Doesn't go very fast at all. And I don't have any ore to be smelted right now. Where is the minecart? Is there a minecart? No, there's not. Oh yeah, there is. Here it comes. Should go down there and then stop. Yep, it did. Okay, and then I don't have a fuel minecart right now. That's the thing. Let's see. Do I have a minecart? I don't have a chest. Let me go make a chest while this loads. There's some slime balls here, which I didn't kill the slime, which means the slime hopped his way up the stairs and then fell off. I'll take them. Wow, that's 6 slime balls. That must have been a few slimes that died. Huh, okay. Alright, chest minecart goes right in there. So it should start filling up. Yep, as soon as this comparator's empty, that cart will go. And it will evenly distribute, or really close to evenly distribute, all of the blaze rods in each one of these furnaces. Alright, this minecart's about to take off. There he goes. So now each one of these furnaces should have 1 blaze rod each. Beautiful. No hiccups so far. So now we just gotta wait for this chest to get loaded up with 24 stacks of cobblestone. We got, we're like a little more than a quarter of the way there. That one will take a while, I think. But the field distribution went perfectly. Yep. It's on its way back because it bounces from there. So these will all get 2, and then it'll come back and everybody will get 3, and then 4, and then so on. Has it came and bounced back yet? Everybody's still sitting at 2. Where is my fuel cart? Oh, there it goes. Okay. Still sitting at 2. Why isn't it dumping them off? Oops. Alright, we found our first problem. Oh. It's because I only put 2 stacks in there. So the fuel is empty. There's no more fuel to go in there. This is the only downside so far to this giant furnace, is that it takes a while to load. Alright, this minecart's about to take off and put stone in each furnace, and when it does, it's going to be cool to watch them all light up. Oh, that is awesome. Yeah! Oh, that is so satisfying. Oh, that's the coolest thing. I feel so good about this. Haha. The Grand Smeltery. Oh, there's some stuff already done. Apparently, because it's picking stuff up. What's going on here? Why isn't this hopper? Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, that's weird. It's just picked up some random crap, apparently. Stuff that was stuck in the furnaces, maybe, that I didn't find when I were running around. It's already smelted that much stone. Oh, this is crazy. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, I am so pleased with this right now. Ha 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 ha. It's the best feeling ever when you complete a big design like this from start to finish. You plan everything out. That thing's got so much stone in it. Wow. If the timing is right, it should pass 32 furnaces this way and then 32 furnaces on the way back, which means every time that it comes back, it should have a whole new stack to drop off. But I guess in the time that it takes for it to drop off a whole stack, these things can just go crazy, smelting and smelting and smelting. So I think eventually we're going to get to a point where these hopper minecarts get clogged up. Yeah, see, it's got over a stack in there now. Uh-oh. So this top rail, this blue rail, is not distributing the raw materials fast enough to keep up with how quickly the blaze rods are burning out. I did not foresee that happening. So maybe what we'll do when we actually use this is we will load in the ore before we load in the fuel. I loaded in the fuel first this time. I think we'll do it the other way around when we actually do it. That should help with that problem. This is super cool. I'm super happy with this. The next thing we need to do is make this thing look pretty. I don't want to have all this exposed rails and redstone guts everywhere, so we will make this thing look like a real room. I have to have these blocks here. There's really no way around it because that's what these bounce off of. Unless I move these chests in one more block, but I don't really want to do that either. So we'll have to figure out some kind of an arch thing to make these blocks look natural. And then I think I know what I want to do for the face of this machine, so that's not really an issue either. So this is what I'm thinking for the face of the smeltery. I did put in a second row of furnaces. I did not hook it up. They're just cosmetic at this point. That way in the future, if we decide that we want to do a second story, it'll be a little easier maybe. And it looks way cool. So, whoops, that's not right. That's supposed to all be stone brick there in the corner. So I'm gonna finish up this face off camera, and then that's pretty much it. That is the whole episode. We're about out of time. Anyway, as always, I hope you guys enjoyed watching the episode. I enjoyed making it. Have a good rest of your day.